Okay, y'all. So I have like 16 minutes until I get to my daughter's track meet. And on the way, I just have to discuss this while it's fresh on my brain because I was sent a video that was talking about angles of the number one and how one became one and how the number one, depending on how it's written, has one angle, right? To myself, what about when the number is written with the angle at the top and then the line, the horizontal line at the bottom, at the base? That would create three angles, which to me represent Trinity, right? But that's in religion, or I think I went out for a second there. So if you didn't hear me, I said, so the one, and I have to document myself for backup so I can remember what I was saying. I have to document myself. I have to document myself and what I was saying, just in case. Just in case YouTube decides not to publish this. I have to make videos of what I said so that I don't forget my train of thought. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So this morning I woke up to a text message where this man was showing how how the number one has one angle. That's how it became one. So then I said to myself, well, what about when you write it like a one with the angle at the top and then the base at the bottom? That becomes three angles, and then that represents the Trinity, right? But that's in culture, religion, and the evolution of numbers, right? So I'm gonna try to get as much as this as possible in. So what that did anyway was then made me think about Terrence Howard and the 1 times 1 equals 2. So I went down a whole stream of, I went down a rabbit hole of figuring out where he's coming from, and I did. So and I love abstract thoughts and ways of thinking and opening up the mind. So anyway, after I got that video and I thought about it and I said, okay, well, there's different ways and different ways of thinking, different cultures, different religions, different views, blah, blah, blah. So then after I said, well, the one, as I ride by, there's a one going across this truck right here, the O-N-E spelled out one on a pink truck, right? That's crazy. I love the universe. Anyway, that makes me so excited. It lets me know I'm here, and that's all that matters. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So the three angles on when it's written with the angle at the top, the base at the bottom, that's three angles. So I said, okay, so that could be related to Trinity, right? So then I take it even further in my mind, and I'm thinking, well, okay, if it's shaped like that, if there's three angles on that type of one, three angles on another type of one, then that would also make 6 angles, right? Then what would that mean? 6 represents what? The carbon person, physicality. Some people say the devil, which we are. Basically, we can be the devil and we can be our divine oneness and whole self, or our goddess self, God self in the mind, and think on a higher level. We have both. We have as above, so below. So that led me into asking ChatGPT like a whole lot of questioning, right? So it took me back to hieroglyphics, where they used to just do a tally mark, because the one stroke was just the representation of the sun, of oneness, wholeness. And because I was thinking, okay, angles are only created by reflection. The sun, I know, is always God, right? So with the angles being created by sunlight and shadows, and angles are being reflection of exactly that, and that's how everything is created, by the sun. Angles, reflections, circles, objects, geometry, all of it, right? So chat actually helped me articulate it better, and I don't want to read it right now because I just have to get these thoughts out of my mind, just based on my understanding of what I read. And even though the report that I created based on my conversation with Chat GTP is way more articulate and advanced in pulling all the data and the concepts and from the websites and from the reports and theories and studies of science, scientists and Carl Jung, and I mean stuff like that. I read about it and study it, but it is so in depth based on other people's studies and experiments and manifestations or whatever. This is Sunshine the Mayan Goddess perception of the situation, okay? It's from basically the cosmos and angels and spirituality into different shapes of the one, the number one, the language of the number one, and so forth and so on. So we got into the concept of the spiritual concept of the number one, and then the physical concept of the number one, right? That then led into me saying, well, because it kept wanting to stay with the thought of one stroke and one stroke, which I know this is true. One stroke and one stroke is physically, to our visual perception of things, is two, which it is. But on a spiritual realm, in the concept of where they kept one times one is one, still one, because it's speaking in wholeness and divine unity and oneness, which is also the same thing as the Trinity. So it all leads back to one. However, because we are in physical matter, as a matter of factly, and mathematics is expressions, and that's what we learn in school, are expressions. And it goes back to the divide and conquer and the education and training and so forth and so on. We then learn that we have to separate. So this is the mathematical system in which Terrence Howard is speaking on, is physical matter and the earthly realm of numbers and how they were created and what they represent and the symbolism of them. Same with the hieroglyphics, same with the stroke, that first was a singular stroke that meant one. So we're going all the way back, right, before any of the religions, any of the concepts that evolved into mathematics today. So I then said, okay, well, since we have to go into algebra and expressions, and in order to express something in our physical realm, yes, in divine wholeness and oneness, everything is one, and one times one is one, because it's just duality, and it's just it's dualities and manifestations of duality and dimensions and things of that nature. But when you take it all into consideration and considering we are here and we are physical beings, and we've learned this physical system and this evolution of mathematics over time, Terrence Howard would be right. Because when you think about an egg, and you think about a singular egg, I'm sorry, I reconnected, but I'm a mother, and I'm a mother, and I'm a creator. And when you think of us being physically here, when one egg is split into two, you still have the same DNA. It's the singular whole. It's still one, right? This is all on a physical and spiritual level, but excuse me, it also manifests into science, because having children is also science. It's biology. It's all of that. It's also geometry and time and space and everything else that happens within the body, but it still represents the same oneness. However, what happens whenever, of course, the egg is split, it's the same DNA, but it's split into two. One stroke of an egg, then separated into two. So one and one, like identical twins or fraternal twins, they're still one wholeness, but in the physical reality of things, or the manifestation of two different dimensions, as Chat put it to me. And I hope I'm saying this right, because my mind sometimes thinks faster than I'm able to articulate, but I'm gonna still try because it's my purpose. But anyway, so you got one and one made two in the physical, made two entities within the physical realm, even though they're one in essence and one in wholeness. They have one, they share one DNA, and they share one essence. They still physically represent two entities, which is one and one is two. One multiplied by one is two, right? So so there's a divine, of course there's a divine oneness, but then because of the American and the, not even just American, everywhere, because of the different religions, cultures, different interpretations, words, especially because words are spells, it created a separation and expression physically on earth of what two is. Even though two is one in divine wholeness, because it's only an expression of the one, and it's only an expression of itself, because we are in physical earth, and we're in physical thought, and we're in an evolution of the way control happened, took place, separation and divide and conquer, and administrative, being able to keep track of things and all of those type of things. They created a system of tally marks, of strokes from back then, that represent one stroke multiplied by one stroke is two. Okay, and again, it goes back to spirituality, the cosmos. What else you want to call it? It goes back to divine oneness, but in physicality and in matter. As a matter of factly, in matter, it then does create two entities in two different forms. So there's two breakdowns to it. There's a divine oneness to it, which is why they keep it at 1 times 1 is 1, because everything is an expression of the one, of the whole, of God, of the universe. Everything is an expression of one. That's why they want to keep it as 1 times 1. However, because of their very own system, or because of our very own system, I say there because I didn't create it. I mean, maybe I am a part of it. I am, because I am, right? But I can say we because we created these evolution of numbers, mathematics, systems, expressions, algebra, which are expressions and things like that, and we broke it all down and separated it and created all this extraness. Our same system that we created, that supposed to be divine oneness and 1 times 1 is 1, should be, but because of our same
in 3/4 of a mile, at the roundabout,
carbon 666 entities, which is divide and conquer, separation, or just being physically here, which is nothing wrong with that. We're all earth angels, right? Because the devil was once an angel as well, but then because of the way we decided to break stuff apart, separate stuff, do things separately, so forth and so on, you then do indeed have 1 times 1 is 2. So it's one and the same manifestation, but just 2 different ways of thinking about it. So Terrence Howard is right. On a physical level, on a physical realm level, he is correct.
Take the second exit.
Spiritually, we want to keep it 1 times 1 is 1 unified, but it's not. It's really not. We're not. We're all separated. We're all divided. We're all once an egg is split into 2, even though it's the same DNA, same essence, 2 entities then present itself physically.
In half a mile, at the roundabout, take
and
the first exit onto Dr.
Those 2 entities are going to express themselves differently, as you can see with twins and fraternal twins, right? So that's how he ends up being correct. Now, because it has been built on because the whole system has been built on the 1 times 1 is 1, if we were to change it, it would kind of blow away the whole matrix. It would kind of blow away the whole unity factor of the one and the wholeness in God. It would then make us all separate gods and separate entities and just separate, which we are physically on this earth, because we can see that. But if we want to in and hold one another as you are me, I am you, and that way we treat one another with the same humanity, right? But that's just not how it is, and we know that because we internally have our own demons, which when we see them outside of ourselves, don't like it, and then we want to separate ourselves from that other entity that's right there. Even twins, they want to separate themselves from one another, even though they're the same DNA, the same egg, but just split. They still want to separate themselves and want to be their own individual entity, and want to be their own self-expression, want to be their own expression, want to be their own stroke of a singular one, right? But in actuality, they're just one. They're just one and the same. But again, because we are, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say this, but I'm just saying it again. But because we are physically here, and because of the way things have been, again, separated, controlled, compartmentalized, built on different beliefs and different cultures, different ways of symbolism and things like that, two
at the next light, turn left.
Is a thing. Two really isn't a thing, though. Nothing outside of one is a thing. But
at the light, turn
we did it. We did it. right? But if we were to stay with wholeness in one, then there goes forgiveness, there goes forgiving yourself, there goes forgiving others, there goes the Trinity, there goes the, even if one is shaped with an angle at a base, different ways of thinking, different ways of being, different skin color, different this, different that. If we were to not write anything differently, but we do, then we wouldn't have all of the separation, all the confusion, all the different stuff. It would just be the one stroke, one linear stroke, and that's it. From the sun to the shadow, because the light and the shadow is one and the same, but just duality, right? So even though it's making two different reflections, it's still one and the same. But because of our limited perception and the way we've been trained and compartmentalized things, we then see it as duality or two.
Next light, turn left.
And that's just the way it is. I mean, we can't go back to the oneness or the wholeness, mentally or physically, for that matter, because
stay in the right lane.
Because of training, because of desires, because of existence, period. Until, of course, you die and go back into just one spirit, into one wholeness. You go back into the universe and you become a whole with the universe as one. But then it goes into, because energy can't be created nor destroyed thing, then that's how we still end up, our spirit ends up still coming back.
You've entered the parking lot for your destination.
Our spirit still ends up coming back into sometimes physical manifestation of something else, if you believe in reincarnation, which the Egyptians did, is what we were taught, that because of what they perceived in their realities. And some people don't believe that the Egyptians even existed or anything else existed. But I mean, that's just based on beliefs and trainings and stuff that was here before us that you can either deny or not. But anyway, so that's just like just the tip of the iceberg of the whole rabbit hole I went down. Like, I'm gonna make a whole, because I've been working on this since I heard his debate with that guy who was the mathematician or whatever on, I think it was Joe Rogan or something. So I've been kind of going down the rabbit hole about it in several different ways. But he's definitely he's correct in one aspect, but in the aspect of what has been accepted and documented and determined as the way or whatever, we could change the wording. We could change the wording of multiplication, and then he would be correct, because everything is about the spelling and the words and so forth. But anyway, I'm going to, this is just, again, I'm going to make another video where I can actually show like a visual, as well as as well as the reports, that the line of questioning and the answers that were provided by myself in chat. so that I can give y'all a full understanding, and kind of make it no way for you to poke holes in neither concept. The one that exists now in our current 1 times 1 is 1, and Terrence Howard's 1 times 1 is 2. I can show proof for both are accurate. Is that a parking space? So anyway, this is only 20 minutes of rambling on about this, but I had to get it out. Oh, they got my parking space. Okay, but you know what? My divine oneness is going to help me get a parking space right now so that I don't miss my daughter's track meet in a up close space. I'm manifesting that right now. So I need to tune in to where I am present right now in this moment so that I can make that happen for myself. So anyway, y'all, hey everybody, I'm sorry I didn't say how many outs have you popped in the what? Outs have you popped in the chest? What? Do you have Glock 19? What? Oh dang, I don't know what y'all talking about right there, but anyway, all right, I will talk to y'all later. And my next conversation, these are somewhat spiritual talks with a Mayan goddess, you know what I'm saying? And y'all can follow Ascension Survivors on my YouTube channel, because I'm going to have more of these talks as well on a different channel. But for right now, I can't do lives on that channel. Too late. I seen it first. So I'm gonna do more lives on that channel, but for now, because I can only do shorts on that channel until I do enough shorts, I will then be able to do lives. I'm gonna just put it on this channel. That's how I know. Man, you know what? Thank you, God. Thank you, God. See what I'm saying? Look at this right here. Look at this right here. I got me exactly what I said. A parking space right in the front. You know what I'm saying? Ask and it shall be given. Ask and it shall be given. Because I'm really the one. You're really the one in your world. I'm really the one in my world. And that's how the divine oneness works. But physically on this earth, because I'm here, and because I am matter, and I matter, and I am black matter, and my life matter, I'm able to manifest what matters to me. And you are too. Bars. Okay, y'all. I'll see y'all later. I gotta go.